Something good just happened. You just didn't hear about it. Better side of the world.
Imagine you are an oak tree. Like, you don't have a central nervous system, you definitely don't have a brain.
No brain, no moving parts really, just sitting there.
Exactly, just sitting there. Yet somehow you carry this latent memory of these specific caterpillars that ate your leaves last spring, and you actively change your entire biological schedule to avoid them this year. You literally hit like the snooze button on your own leaf production.
Which is just, I mean, it completely upends how we think about plant intelligence, because we always assume life without a brain is passive, right?
Yeah.
Just sort of reacting to the rain or the sun. But nature is actually constantly running these deeply complex, very proactive strategies.
And that hidden intelligence is exactly what we're exploring today. So welcome to our deep dive. It is the first week of May 2026, and we have a curated stack of sources today. We're pulling from tech journals, science roundups, and platforms like Good Upworthy, Positive News, and the Good News Network.
A really great lineup this week.
Yeah, it really is. Because our mission today is to look past the usual, heavy doom-scrolling headlines and map out the hidden networks and the surprising resilience that are actively holding our world together right now.
Which is such an important exercise, I think, because when you sift through this particular collection of updates, and these span from like late April to early May, you stop seeing a world that is fragile.
Right. You start seeing the strength.
Exactly. Whether you are looking at the cosmic scale, the biological scale, or human society, you see ecosystems and communities running these incredibly sophisticated systems of adaptation and self-repair.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really understand this adaptability, we need to start out at the absolute macro level. I mean, we're talking about scientists who are literally redrawing the maps of our known reality.
Redrawing them, yeah.
Yeah. Just this past week, on April 29th, researchers announced they have discovered the true boundary of the Milky Way's star-forming region.
Which is huge.
It's massive. It turns out the edge of our galaxy is actually much closer to us than we previously estimated. But I was looking at the notes on the methodology here, and they didn't just point a telescope and look for empty space. They used something called stellar age mapping.
Right. And that's the crucial detail here, because you can't just look for a physical wall out there in the void. There's no big fence.
Right. No end-of-galaxy sign.
Exactly. So what astrophysicists are doing instead is mapping the life cycles of the stars themselves. By analyzing the chemical composition and the light spectra of these stars, they can actually determine their exact age. So they are specifically hunting for young, newly formed stars.
I was trying to conceptualize this, and the best analogy I could come up with is trying to find the true edge of a really sprawling city.
Oh, I like that.
Because you don't look for a welcome to the city signpost,
Right.
because those get left behind as the suburbs sprawl outward, right? Instead, you look for exactly where the active new housing developments stop being built. You track the fresh construction.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's what stellar age mapping is doing, but, with baby stars.
What's fascinating here is how that technique shifts our entire perspective of our celestial neighborhood. I mean, space isn't a static, empty void. It's a highly dynamic, constantly evolving environment that we are still, quite frankly, actively trying to measure.
Well, and we got another profound reminder of that dynamism right next door, too, on Mars.
Yeah.
This was on April 28th. The Curiosity rover detected a really surprising variety of complex organic molecules in the Martian soil.
The rover is still doing incredible work out there.
It really is. But I want to pause on that, because whenever we hear, organics on Mars, the human mind immediately jumps to a little green man.
Of course it does.
But we need to clarify what complex organic molecules actually means in this specific context. Are we talking about basic carbon atoms here, or something a bit more advanced?
We are talking about things like thiophenes and long-chain carbon molecules. Now, to be crystal clear, and the researchers stress this is not direct proof of biological life currently walking around on Mars.
Right. No alien.
No aliens. But biologically speaking, these are the heavy-duty building blocks. Finding them preserved in the soil proves that the Martian environment was once vastly more, life-friendly and chemically complex than our historical models ever suggested.
It's like breaking into an ancient abandoned kitchen, right? And finding flour, sugar, and eggs perfectly preserved in the pantry.
That's a great way to put it.
You didn't find a baked cake, but you know definitively that someone could have baked one there. the conditions for the recipe totally existed.
And finding those ingredients fundamentally changes how we view the history of our entire solar system.
Which actually brings us to a breakthrough from April 25th that sounds like pure science fiction, but it is happening right now in labs.
Oh, the optical tornado.
Yes. Researchers have revealed a new technology that uses liquid crystals to create optical tornadoes. They are literally creating swirling beams of light to transmit data. But I have to push back here for a second, because the sources claim this will completely revolutionize data transmission.
Wait, so does this mean our current internet fiber optics, like the physical cables carrying this very audio to you, the listener, right now, are completely obsolete? Are we throwing them out?
No, it's less about throwing away our current fiber optic infrastructure and more about completely changing what the light inside those exact same cables is doing.
Oh, okay.
Because right now, conventional data transmission relies on pulsing light. It's essentially just turning it on and off super fast to create ones and zeros.
Morse code, almost.
Exactly like a super fast Morse code.
Yeah.
But what these optical tornadoes do is utilize something called orbital angular momentum.
Meaning they are literally twisting the light itself.
Precisely.
Yeah.
By passing light through these specially designed liquid crystals, they force the light wave into a spiral, kind of like a corkscrew or a tornado. The game changer is that the degree of that twist can be used to encode information.
Wait. Yeah, so instead of just on or off, you have an entirely new, infinitely variable alphabet based on exactly how tightly the light is swirling. So you can pack significantly more information into the exact same beam.
So it's a massive upgrade to the bandwidth.
An upgrade to bandwidth, yes, but more importantly, an upgrade to security.
Oh, right, the quantum aspect.
Yes, this is the key to quantum communication. Because quantum states are so incredibly delicate, if a hacker tries to intercept or even just observe one of these twisting quantum signals, the mere act of observation physically alters the twist.
The data just collapses.
Exactly, collapses immediately. So these swirling beams of light are essentially laying the foundation for a completely unhackable internet.
Okay, that is wild. We've just talked about how quantum light can be twisted to create these secure, unhackable data networks. But what really blew my mind going through this stack of articles is that nature has actually been running its own decentralized, unhackable networks for millions of years.
Oh, absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, that concept of hidden layers of security doesn't just exist in quantum physics. It is happening right here on Earth, literally beneath the surface.
Yeah, look at what is happening at the Great Barrier Reef. According to a report from the Good News Network, a group of citizen scientists, which is just awesome on its own, discovered a massive new coral colony near Cairns, and it's roughly half the size of a football pitch.
Which is huge. That alone is a massive win for conservation.
Right, but the mechanism of how these reefs are actually surviving is the real story here. Because there was a new study utilizing complex ocean circulation models that tracked the movement of coral larvae across 850 different reefs.
And what they found completely challenges the long-held assumption that coral reefs are just these isolated ecosystems.
Right. The models proved that these reefs are secretly connected across vast oceans via these invisible larval highways. I read this, and I immediately pictured an underwater decentralized cloud backup service.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Well, think about it. If one reef gets decimated by a bleaching event, if it basically goes down like a crashed hard drive, these other healthier reefs are automatically sending data in the form of living coral larvae floating on specific ocean currents to help restore the damaged site. They are literally backing each other up.
It's a brilliant biological failsafe. I mean, nature is constantly running these highly adaptive, long-term strategies for survival. Which actually brings us right back to the oak tree study you mentioned at the very start of the deep dive.
Yes. I need to understand the mechanism behind this, because the study found that oak trees actively delay sprouting their leaves in the spring to avoid the specific hungry caterpillars that devoured their leaves the previous year.
Right.
How does a tree, which has no nervous system, hit the snooze button? Is it like a chemical change?
It is entirely rooted in epigenetics and chemical signaling. So when the caterpillars attack a tree, their saliva combined with the physical trauma of the chewed leaves triggers this massive chemical response within the oak.
Like an alarm bell going off.
Exactly. And that chemical distress signal leaves a lasting epigenetic mark on the tree's cells. It literally alters how the tree's genes will express themselves in the future.
That is insane.
It really is. So the following spring, that latent chemical memory suppresses the hormones that normally trigger early budding. The tree physically remembers the trauma and alters its own biological schedule to ensure the caterpillars starve before the new leaves ever arrive.
It is an active defensive strategy played out across entire seasons.
Mm.
And, when you realize nature has these latent memories and backup systems, it totally explains why the ecological bounce backs we are seeing right now are so phenomenal.
The animal comebacks have been amazing this year.
Yeah, California just brought beavers back to the state for the first time in 70 years, and they are already seeing rapid watershed repair. Or look at the kiwi bird in New Zealand.
Kiwi is a perfect example of a cascading ecological effect. I mean, they had lost 99% of their population.
9%.
Yeah. But after a century-long absence, they are finally returning to the wild right around New Zealand's capital.
But the kiwi didn't just wander back on its own right. New Zealanders fought incredibly hard to eradicate invasive predators and rebuild that habitat, which represents a really important pivot in our sources today.
How so?
Well, nature has its backup servers, right? But what we are seeing in this first week of May is human beings stepping up to amplify that natural healing.
Yes. We are transitioning from nature's self-repair to human-assisted repair. Look at the Rewild Your Campus initiative.
Yeah.
2 college students sparked a nationwide crusade with a highly specific goal: eliminate synthetic pesticides and herbicides from all U.S. college campuses by 2030 and convert those spaces into pollinator gardens.
It's not just about planting a few nice flowers,
Yeah.
It's a systemic removal of toxic chemicals from massive tracts of urban land.
And sometimes that human intervention doesn't start with a nationwide campaign. Sometimes it just starts with a single observation. The story of Nutella the turtle illustrates a major shift in grassroots conservation.
I love this story. An 8-year-old girl was on a family vacation in South Carolina and spotted a hooked sea turtle in water.
Yeah, and it turns out this was one of the world's most endangered turtle species.
And it had tumors growing in its eyes, right?
Yeah.
Now, the old model of interaction might have been to just, feel sad, take a picture, and walk away. But because she spoke up and notified authorities, that single observation triggered a massive logistical response.
It was an incredible rescue effort.
The turtle, which they named Nutella, was transported all the way to Florida's Turtle Hospital, underwent a 4-month specialized medical recovery, and was successfully released back into the ocean just this week.
It proves that our societal baseline for intervention is actually changing. We are no longer just passive observers of ecological decline. We are becoming active participants in its recovery.
Exactly.
And we are seeing that exact same ethos of active repair being applied to human communities too.
So what does this all mean? When you look at the job training program in Texas, created by the Black United Fund, it's an initiative called Vulnerable to Vibrant. The poetic parallel is just staggering.
Tell us how the program works.
They are taking formerly incarcerated individuals and giving them highly specialized training to become solar panel installers.
Wow.
Right. We have people actively rehabilitating the environment by building out clean solar energy infrastructure. But simultaneously, we are rehabilitating human lives by giving ex-convicts a fresh, totally vibrant start in a booming industry. We are physically fixing the power grid and socioeconomically fixing the social fabric at the exact same time.
You are hitting on the core mechanism of true sustainability right there, because you can't just save an endangered turtle or protect a forest if the human communities surrounding them are economically broken or socially discarded.
You just can't.
No. Vulnerable to Vibrant proves that environmental repair and social repair have to be the exact same engine.
And this concept of fresh starts, of rehabilitating systems, it is creating an unprecedented wave of healing across all facets of human life right now. You can literally see it showing up in the clinical data.
Oh, definitely. The medical milestones announced in April by UK researchers are a testament to the systemic approach. They released early data showing they are currently way ahead of schedule for a massive national health target.
Which was what, by 2035?
Right, 2035, they want 75% of cancer patients to be cancer-free 5 years after their initial diagnosis.
Hitting a 75% survival rate across an entire national population is monumental.
Yeah.
But they aren't doing it with one magic pill, are they?
No, not at all. They're achieving this by completely rewiring the hidden networks of their healthcare system. It's about deploying rapid diagnostic centers, integrating AI screening to catch anomalies months earlier, and creating continuous, deeply connected care pathways.
It's a systemic triumph.
It really is.
But what I found so interesting in these sources is that healing isn't always clinical. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and there was a fascinating profile on Brian Welch. He rose to fame as a guitarist in the groundbreaking, incredibly intense heavy metal band
Big, I remember them.
And now he is building a new, all-in-one healthcare program for mental health.
This raises an important question about how we define healthcare in modern society. Because Welch's program isn't just a stark clinical facility, it combines individual therapy, group therapy, and precise medication management all under one roof.
Wow.
It is a truly holistic approach built by someone who intimately understands the darker, heavier sides of the human experience.
It acknowledges that clinical milestones are vital, but so are deeply emotional communal acts of care. And we are seeing these communal acts everywhere in the stack.
Yeah, we are.
Like positive news covering strangers across the wedding industry, florists, photographers, caterers, all coordinating to donate their services and throw completely free weddings for nearly 300 couples where one partner is facing a terminal illness.
That is the social fabric repairing itself in real time. And that human connection extends heavily into how we share culture, too. Just look at the box office numbers from this week.
Oh, the Michael Jackson movie.
Yeah, the new biopic, Michael. It hit theaters on April 24th and grossed over $425 million worldwide in its first week alone.
I was reading the analysts' breakdown of those numbers, and they noted a very specific mechanism for why it succeeded so wildly. It wasn't just like standard nostalgia. It was functioning as a family biopic.
The theater essentially became a communal gathering space. You had multiple generations, grandparents who grew up with the Jackson 5, parents who remember the Thriller era, and kids who were just discovering the music on TikTok, all sitting in the exact same room.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it facilitated generational co-viewing, allowing families to share and discuss musical history together.
It is all about connection, and ultimately it is all about growth. Which brings us to the class of 2026. On May 2nd, thousands of students crossed graduation stages. But the story that went massively viral was from Columbia College.
The 45-year-old mother.
Yes, a 45-year-old mother who had been balancing grueling night shifts while raising 4 children finally earned her degree. Her message to the press was incredibly simple. Growth doesn't have an expiration date.
And you see that exact same philosophy in the story of the artist Jeff Nebeker.
Oh, the ceramic donuts?
Yeah. He posted these intricate, really cool ceramic donuts he made online, and they went viral, selling out in minutes. But rather than just pocketing this sudden influx of cash, he immediately channeled the proceeds to fund local community art programs.
It's incredible.
He used his unexpected success to ensure that the creative growth of kids in his neighborhood wouldn't face an expiration date either.
Here's where it gets really interesting for you, listening to this right now.
Right.
Think about that 45-year-old graduate, or the artist funding the local kids, or even the oak tree rewriting its biological schedule. Where might you be setting an artificial expiration date on your own growth?
That's a great question.
Where are you telling yourself it's too late, or you've missed the window, when the truth is the timeline is completely up to you?
We artificially limit our own timelines all the time, just like we artificially limit our understanding of the universe until a new perspective completely breaks it open.
So let's just recap the journey we've been on today. We started by mapping the true edges of the Milky Way galaxy, discovering that our celestial neighborhood is closer and vastly more dynamic than we thought.
We found the chemical building blocks for life perfectly preserved on Mars.
We learned how twisting liquid crystals into optical tornadoes could build the unhackable quantum internet of tomorrow.
We dove into the oceans to uncover a decentralized ocean current backup server of coral larvae saving the Great Barrier Reef.
And we learned how oak trees use chemical memory to outsmart predators. We saw human beings stepping in to amplify that resilience, eliminating synthetic pesticides on college campuses, an 8-year-old mobilizing a medical rescue for an endangered turtle, and ex-convicts finding fresh starts by building solar grids.
We explored systemic triumphs in UK cancer data, holistic mental health care, and the simple, profound acts of community connection, proving that it is never, ever too late to graduate, to learn, or to grow.
It is just an overwhelming amount of resilience.
It is. But there is one final piece from the Good News Network stack that I want to leave you with because it acts as the perfect synthesis for absolutely everything we've discussed today.
Well, what's that?
There was a sociological brief discussing the COVID generation. You know, the young people whose formative years were completely upended by the pandemic lockdowns. The early consensus from sociologists is starting to show that instead of permanently breaking this generation, the pandemic may have actually changed them for the better.
Wait, really?
Yeah. The shared trauma forged a remarkably deep empathy and a highly adaptable kind of strength.
They developed their own biological and social memory of the stress, just like the oak trees.
Exactly. Just like astrophysicists use the age of stars to finally map the true expanded shape of our galaxy. Perhaps the extreme global trials of the past few years are exactly what is mapping the true expanded boundary of human resilience. The limits of what we can handle and how deeply we can care for one another when the systems go down are so much further out than we previously estimated.
What a profound thought. The true boundary of our capacity for care is larger than we ever knew. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. As you go out into your week, remember that these hidden networks of support are constantly running in the background, from the stars to the oceans to your own neighborhood. Keep looking for the helpers, keep looking for those connections, and we will catch you next time.
This has been Better Side of the World. And somewhere tonight, something good is still happening.